All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Tuesday morning Inner Circle Live session. I am your host, Ryan Carthage. I hope everybody's just doing awesome today. I hope everybody's doing awesome today. I hope you had a good start to the week. And you're ready to dig in. All right. So, as always, let's turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage, as you guys always do. And for the courtesy of everybody on the call, please ensure that your mic is muted if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment. All right. So, before we get started, if you guys could just keep my awesome partner Benny and his family in your thoughts and prayers. They're going through some things with the family. If you guys just could keep them in your thoughts, we greatly appreciate it. All right. So we are going to dive in. We'll take a look at some fundamentals. We had Aussie rate statement early this morning. We'll take a look there. We'll take a look at some news on oil. And some interesting news coming out of the Eurozone. And then we'll take a look at the charts to see how they reflected some of these changes. All right. So give me 2 seconds. It's great to see Miss Ebony, Miss Easy Money back in the fold. Good morning, Miss Ebony.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. And to hear those beautiful babies.
Oh, yes, they're here. It's good to be back. I miss y'all.
We missed you too. Glad to hear your voice. All right, let's switch over and let's get rocking, everybody. So we will start with Reserve Bank of Australia. Reserve Bank of Australia delivers a 50 basis point rate hike, hence to more tightening. So Reserve Bank of Australia raised cash rate by 50 basis points to 0.85% during its June 2022 meeting. This was the first back-to-back rate hike in 12 years, as the board said huge monetary support is no longer needed amid the strength of the economy and the current inflation pressures. In addition, the labor market is strong and employment has grown, and the jobless rate was at its lowest in near 50 years. Policymakers warn that further tightening is in the pipeline, with its size and timing being guided by incoming data and the board's review of the outlook for inflation in the labor market. The committee reiterated that it was committed to doing what is necessary to ensure inflation returns to a target while paying attention to the global outlook, which stays clouded by the war in Ukraine and its effect on prices of energy and commodities. All right. The board increased the rate on exchange settlement balances by 50 basis points to 0.75. So look, all right, the forecast, we'll hop over to Forex Factor real quick, just look at this, but the forecast was just 25 basis points. They went above, right? Very, very hawkish from the Reserve Bank of Australia, and hawkish statements saying, hey, we're going to continue to press into this until we get to where we desire to be, right? So the Aussie dollar is hawkish. Okay, so we'll take a look in a moment, see how that translates to the Aussie pairs to see where price pushed to. All right. Then we got oil. WTI crude futures reversed early gains to trade around $118 a barrel on Tuesday as traders try to assess the fuel demand outlook. Rising interest rates around the world are likely to hurt consumer spending, while a relaxation in China's COVID curves is expected to support fuel demand, right? So a little back and forth here. On the other hand, OPEC Plus decision to raise output for July and August by 648,000 barrels per day, or 50% more than they previously planned, did little to ease supply concerns, as many members will not be able to raise production, right? They won't be able to increase to meet these numbers. Additively, Saudi Arabia raised July crude prices for its Asian buyers to higher than expected levels. So we're talking about last week, I believe it was, talking about the potential for Saudi Arabia to come in, and they stated that they're ready to produce more oil if Russia is removed from OPEC. But what Saudi Arabia started to do is they started to price gouge, right? They increased oil $2 per gallon on Asian buyers, right? $2 per gallon for Asian buyers. So they're price gouging big time on the Asian buyer side of things, right? And don't know, but that could potentially trickle down to the U.S. and anybody else, right? As if they move into a place of more demand to fill the gap that that Russia will leave once this oil embargo really starts to take effect in 6 months, right? So this is going to be something to watch big time, because it could definitely cause prices to continue to press higher, right? And we've been talking about this, right? Looking at oil getting to $150, $200 a barrel. This could cause it, right? It could be one of the catalysts to cause it. So we'll continue to watch and see, right? But China is also curbing their COVID restrictions, opening up things. Japan is opening up things. So you're going to start to see more demand from that side, and we'll see how the U.S. and others are able to travel and move as inflation continues to increase. So it'll be back and forth conversation. So we could come into a space where we hit that D extension, which we'll look at, and then we get some sideways movement again as this back and forth continues. So that's crude oil. Then German factory orders continue to fall. New orders for German manufactured goods declined by 2.7% month over month in April, while following a downwardly revised 4.2% drop in March and missing a forecast of 0.03% rise. It marks the third consecutive month of lower factory orders, and a sign the war in Ukraine, ongoing supply constraints, pressured by China's lockdown and soaring energy prices, are weighing on German economy. So the other thing about the oil prices, right? Crude oil, is these factories use crude to run their machines, right? So it becomes more expensive. So as we start to look at the producer price indexes and CPI index and manufacturing numbers, right, we could start to see some impacts from the oil conversation, because things are getting more expensive for them, right? So then as it trickles down to the consumer and the CPI numbers, right, those are other ways that we'll start to see the impacts of these increased oil prices, right? And potentially how Saudi Arabia is increasing on Asian customers, right? So now over in Asia, as they do a lot of manufacturing and of exported goods, it's going to be more expensive for them. So could their orders continue to drop, or could things get more expensive because of that back and forth, right? So that's the trickle down on how everything is connected in multiple ways. And then if you look at it from a supply chain perspective, right? The ships moving back and forth, right? Trucks, as you transport within a country, right? They use diesel, which comes from crude, more expensive. It's more expensive. It's going to trickle down. It's going to go back up to the folks that make the goods, and then it's going to come back down to the consumers that purchase it. Right? So there's a back and forth that we're going to continue to see as prices continue to rise. We're going to continue to see issues in the supply constraint side of things. So there's a connection all around, right? There's a connection all around. So that's where we sit. That's where we sit. Okay. So back over to Forex Factory. All right. So we had Aussie rate come out later on today. Treasury Secretary Yellen speaks. Nothing really major for the rest of the day today. Wednesday, not a ton happening. We've got unemployment rate for the Swissy. Crude oil inventories. That's pretty much it for Wednesday. Thursday, right? We got this euro interest rate, right? Now we saw here German factory orders fall. Okay. Euro area construction output shrinks. So we're starting to see a contraction in the European economy. Things are starting to slow down, right? European shares trade lower, inflation concerns linger. So we're starting to see things slow down in Europe due to inflation. So the question is going to be how aggressive is President Lagarde, right? Here it says 0%. They'll keep things the same, but it's expected that they will increase rates for the first time in quite some time and come into a positive territory. So we'll see how aggressive they get and then what the tone is in the statement afterwards, right? This is going to be big on Thursday, okay? And then as we move through the rest of the week, we have Bank of Canada, Governor Malcolm speaking at 11. And then on Friday, for the Canadian dollar, we have employment change, unemployment rate, and then we have CPI and core CPI for the United States. These numbers are going to be big when it comes to the dollar and inflation to give us an idea of, right, how aggressive the United States could be coming into next week, right? We talk about the U.S. interest rate conversation, okay? So going to be a big close to the week, right? A lot of volatility, tons of things happening that we'll definitely keep our eyes on and we'll be prepared for as we move through. All right. Any questions on the fundamental side of things? No? All right. We'll keep rocking. So let's hop over and real quick, I want to take a look at this dollar Aussie trade we had in a while ago, but I want to take a look at it just to take a look at the progress of it, and then we'll take a look at those Aussie pairs and see where those pushed. All right, this is that dollar Aussie that we took a look at a while ago, right? And it's just been moving sideways, but we're starting now to Swiss. I'm sorry, dollar Swiss. Yes, I apologize. Thank you. Dollar Swiss pushing to the upside, right? We've been sitting in this one, looking for this move back to the upside, right? Benny talked about how Swissy continues to intervene from a monetary perspective, right? And just like the yen and things are running on the yen, things are also running on the Swissy, because we are starting to shift into somewhat of a risk on environment currently, right? So your safe havens aren't getting a ton of love. Okay, so this pair, if you're still sitting in this one, right, pushing to the upside. If we go back to the 4-hour chart here, right? This is the move. Shallow retracement, 118 to 127 play. Now we're pushing, making our way to that 38.2 level. All right. So if you're in this, continue to monitor your trade, right? But we're starting to press into, get back to some of these key levels that we broke through, and we'll see how price goes from there. So if you're still in that, kudos, right? And we'll keep monitoring. Cool deal. Any questions on this dollar Swiss?
No, sir.
Cool deal. All right, let's take a look at these Aussies real quick. So, the Aussie CAD, right? So we had the news come in last night, and you see we got some indecision. We had a strong bullish. It started out as a bullish move, right? They came in above expectation, but price came back down, right? So the question that pops into my mind is, A, were investors expecting it? But B, how important is the CPI data that's coming in at the end of the month, right? Because you would have expected them to come in. They came in 25 basis points above expectation, would have expected price to continue to rise. I would have, right? So now we want to see, right? Do we get follow through as the New York session opened? That data did come out in the middle of the night, right? So when the New York session opens, do we see a continued rise here, or do we see more sideways movement as we move through the day and the week? Okay, so that's something that caught my eye as I was looking at the chart this morning. Okay, so as we drop down to the 4, right, this was the zone that we were looking at, right, 618, just shy of the 786, previous consolidation here. Price pushed up into that zone, right, coming out of last week, and then we got this price starting to press down. And this is the wick from last night, right? This is the wick from last night. So tons of indecision. So we'll see, like I said, we'll see if we get price to push back up and come higher, or if things continue to press down. Okay, we'll pop over and take a look at oil as well, so that we can see after we take a look at this one and get an understanding of where oil is as well, and the Canadian dollar. Okay, but we got some indecision in the market right now. Investors are trying to really assess where things are and where things are going, and how they'll take this. Okay, get down to the 1. All right, this is it. This is the move to the downside. All right, broke through the trend lines. This is the wick from last night, pushed up, retested the areas, and came back down. So we'll continue to watch this one, but it's some indecision in the market right now. But if you're in this short already, right, as we're looking at this last week, in this short already, just protect your profits a little bit, right? And monitor your trade as price continues to move, right? If we get a close back above this trend line, we could press back up into this zone. Okay, but that's the Aussie CAD. Any questions? No? Okay. Cool deal. The Aussie Swiss. Now, this Aussie Swiss, we're looking at it because, right, all things are running on the Swiss, right? All things are running on the Swiss. So we had this press down, nice deep 8-6 retracement here, right? And price has been pushing to the upside. With the news last night, price pushed right into this daily resistance level. Okay, pushed right into this daily resistance level. So we want to see, do we get price to continue to rise through this level for this Aussie Swiss, or do we get a reversal out of that zone and a retracement, since this has pretty much been straight up, right? Pretty much been straight up. So as we continue to move down to the 4, okay, it's just been sideways, honestly, right? Pushing back up into the zone, right? Pushing back up into that zone of consolidation. So we want to see. Wick pressed down, couldn't close above. Now we're approaching that daily level again. Okay, so we'll continue to monitor to see if we get a break above. If we do get a strong break, we can look for a retest and a continuation, right? But if we close below, right, this will give us a new swing high here, right? If we close below, we could see price give a retracement of some sort. All right, so we'll keep our eyes on that to see how the market opens for the New York session. And same look here, right? We got a 38 to retracement, came back, retested this daily zone, and now we press back up back to this daily zone. Overall, it's been up on the 1 hour. Okay, just been up on the 1 hour, came just shy of the D extension. So we could see this D extension get hit, right? Another spike to the upside, which would take out that high. Okay, then could come back down below or continue to press up, right? That's that break above that daily level that we want to watch to see, right? If we're able to close above it. All right, so keep your eyes on this just to see how the market opens. If we get an increase in volume, right? And we get this press to the upside because of a hawkish statement and the hawkish tone from the Australian Reserve Bank of Australia, right? We could see this really, really press to the upside, right? For at least the time being. Okay. So that's the Aussie Swiss. Any questions there?
No.
No. All right, cool deal. Real quick, let's pop over, take a look at oil. Supposed to look at that before. And this is oil. Okay. On the 1 hour chart, we broke back above that consolidation zone that we pressed back in. Okay. Moving to the upside. Now we're getting a little bit of retracement, coming back to retest this zone that it just broke, right? So this was another level of resistance on your 4 hour. We're retesting this level. Okay. It held once. We'll see if it holds again. Okay. See if it holds again. We had a head and shoulder, inverted head and shoulders pattern play out here. So we'll see if this holds again, right? A retest of that neckline, and then see if we get that push. Okay. Y'all see this here? Right. So coming back to retest that neckline and see if we get this push back to the upside. Okay. So that's oil. So if this occurs, right, we could see that Aussie CAD continue to push to the downside, even though the Reserve Bank of Australia was extremely hawkish in their tone, right? Canadian dollar could be stronger due to the continued strength of oil. Okay. So any questions on oil? Nope. All right, cool deal. Des, are you tracking the same?
Yeah, but I'm doing under 4 hours.
On the 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Something like that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Great work. All right. So here we got on the 4, we got a 50% retracement. Matching the extension is here at $129 a barrel. We got a weekly resistance level, right? So that's a next destination. It might take a while to get there, but that's where we got our eyes on for.
I think the daily D extension is before it.
Daily D extension is before?
Yeah.
Let's see. Or it is just before. It's around this area here. Uh, 8-6 retracement, 136. Is that what you got? Or you ran your fib off of this low here?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay. 136. So we got 136 just outside of that 129. So continue pressing to the upside here. Right. Retest and continue pressing. Right. So 129, then looking at 136, 140 zone. Right. So overall, again, overall, again, continue pressing to the upside here. All right. Continue pressing to the upside. JC, recommend stop loss being underneath the neckline. You can, right? So you can look at it from a couple perspectives when you're looking at your stop loss here. So on this, depending on where you're running your fib from and how you're looking at it, right? You can run your fib off of that low, right? Because on the harmonic patterns, run it from, in this case, the tip of the head to the shoulder, right? And you could do that, right? Just be aware of where that stop loss is in the event that a deeper retracement comes. Okay. So that's the only thing I would caution there, is just be aware of that. But you could definitely place your stop loss there if you wanted to, just to be really, really tight with it. What I would probably do if I was trading this is I'd place it below the shoulder, is where I'd place it, right? In the event that price comes back to this previous support level again, right? And this also served as a support. So that's what I would do. I'd give it a little bit more room. But you guys know I trade generally with wider stops. So that would be my thought process on it. But you definitely could place it just below that neckline, because it is a level of resistance as well. Just know that if it presses just below it, if you get a wick or anything like that, you could get stopped out pretty quickly. You just have to reassess and see where it is and see if you get that reversal. Okay. The other thing you could do is be it on the 1 hour time frame, probably better on the 15, right? Just drop down here and run your trend line like this. Right. So now, and price is starting to turn over now, but run your trend line to the downside, right? You already got this break here, right? You're getting this break here. So this could actually kind of serve to your point of being under the neckline below that low, right? So that could also give some support to your thought of placing it below that neckline, right? You got that swing low, placing it somewhere in that zone, and now pressing. So that makes sense. Yeah, all good, all good. But yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense, right? Looking at it from multiple levels, you could definitely place it there, or if you wanted to, again, like below that shoulder, like you said. So cool deal. You are welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions on oil? All right. While we're over here, we'll take a look at the DXY also. Let's go to the daily real quick. Brandy, you made a post in the community in regards to the candles not looking the same.
Yes.
You might have some settings that are different, because on your chart it looks like you didn't have any wicks on the bearish candles, any top wicks on the bearish candles, or any bottom wicks on the bullish candles. So you might have some settings that got changed in regards to how your candles are formed. So I would check that. The overall formation is the same, but I would check those settings in regards to the candle structure.
Can you show me where those settings are? Because I don't know this tool. Like I do trade.
Chart settings. Yeah, in here. So you could have like those wicks change different color, right? So I'd look in here to see if there are any adjustments that you can make to show those wicks, because that's the difference that I saw in your chart compared to ours. The formation is the same, but you're just missing those wicks.
Okay, because I'm looking at it now, the daily, and I do see wicks there.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what happened on another chart then.
Neither.
Yeah.
And if I drop the fib like you did, my candles still look very different from yours. So I don't know. I don't know. And this is the only chart.
What difference are you seeing?
Only chart it does that with. Like
it changes when you drop the fib?
No. I was just saying that if I drop the fib like you did, but I still have like a bigger size bullish candle on the end, and then a second one that's bullish, but it's a little shorter candle. Then I have
Gotcha.
an indecision.
Did you link a
bearish.
broker inside of Smart Trader?
No. Mm-mm.
Hmm.
I don't know, but
Interesting.
this is the only chart that it does this with. Like all the rest of my charts, they're pretty much, you know, in line with y'all's, except for when I drop my fib differently than you guys. But the candles look exactly the same. I'm not sure why my dollar one looks so different.
That's interesting. I don't know unless you change the feed here.
Okay. Could have done that.
But I'm not
What?
sure why it'd be different either. That's interesting. Yeah, keep looking at it, and I can set up some time with you and take a look at it some more. But
Okay.
yeah, that's interesting.
Okay.
So shoot us a message at theforextraderoom@gmail.com, and
Okay.
we can set up some time and take a look at it.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
David, it's Ryan, but you can post your charts in the community. You just got to take a screenshot and post the image, or it's easier, we found, for folks to post them in the Facebook group. So you can post them in the Facebook group as well. All you do is take a screenshot of your chart and paste it in there.
In the morning, Brian, in the community.
Yep, in the community. You just take a screenshot of your chart, and when you're typing in a post, you can add an image, right? You can either copy and paste it, or there's a little camera icon. You can just click on the camera icon and select the image from the files on your computer.
Okay.
Yep. And then you have to put a text. So we ask that you put the pair and the time frame that you're looking at, that you're posting. You can only post one image at a time. So what we say is post the you can post your higher time frame image as the main image, and then your lower time frames in the comments, if you're going to do it that way. Takes a little bit more time, more copy and pasting. But like I said, the other ways, you can put it into the Facebook group as well. And you can post all of your images at the same time there. It's a little bit faster that way. So it's up to you.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So this dollar, right? We got to break the trend line to the upside here on the daily time frame, and we're pressing higher, right? Pressing deeper into this down fib. Okay. Now the thing that I'm keeping my eye on is a potential crown pattern here. Okay, on the dollar. Okay, pressing to the upside here. And then if we get back up into the sweet spot in line with the previous left tip, right? Looking for price to come down to this daily support level. Okay, so we could see that potentially occur, depending on how the CPI numbers come out end of the week, leading into next week and the rate statement conversation for the dollar. So we could see a deeper push to the downside before we get a push back up, I think. So that's what I'm monitoring to see if this right tip forms and we get that press to the downside. So I think in the short term, right, the next couple of days, some more bullish movement here, deeper into this down fib. But overall, I'm thinking a little bit more bearish movement coming for the dollar. Okay. So as we drop down in the time frame to the 4, right, you just see a little bit more detail, right? There's a move to the downside, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, pressing back up. You already got a 618 retracement on this 4 hour. We could potentially press a little bit deeper. Okay. So that's the look from the 4. And then as we go to the 1, there's your look there, right? Similar thing to the 4. Shallow retracement, 118, 127. We got your break and you're pushing to the upside. If we get this push a little bit higher, we could get close to taking out that A, right, to form that right tip. And then we could see then we could potentially see price come back down to the downside, like so. Okay, so we'll continue to watch that to see those dollar crosses as well. We'll watch those as those continue to some are pushing down. Okay, so that's the dollar index. Any questions here? No. All right. Back to these Aussies, right? The Aussie Yen. So because the Aussie gained some strength, right? Because we are in this in-between state, right? And we know everything has been running on the yen. We're in more of a risk-on environment currently. So in these risk-on environments, right, we talk about your commodity currencies getting a boost. And we see this has been going straight up in favor of the Aussie, right? No retracement at all, okay? So one of the things I'm keeping my eye on, right, that rate statement pushed this right back into this weekly resistance level. And we're starting to get a reaction here. We got a reaction here, right? We zoom all the way back, right? We have some consolidation here and a push back down to the downside, right? So I'm watching this level because we haven't gotten a retracement at all. And at some point, price is going to retrace, right? At some point, we're going to get a retracement, be it here or in these higher zones. So I'm watching this Aussie Yen pair because I'm anticipating a retracement coming at some point, right? So as we move down to the 4, we see we're sitting in a shallow retracement 118, 127 scenario, okay? Price is sitting at this inner trend line currently. This is that reaction that we saw on the daily, okay? So I'm going to be very patient here, right? But I'm waiting for this trend line to get broken, right? I'm waiting for this trend line to get broken. And if a couple of things, I'm waiting on the trend line to get broken, but also if this candle at the open of the New York session stays below this wick, right? We're at a key level here, key weekly level that we got a reaction at before, right? For me, in my trading plan, right, I'm gonna start to scale into this trade personally, because we're at a key level, right? On a 4-hour time frame, shallow retracement 118 and 127 play, and it's given us, right, a second touch at this weekly level, and we're getting this reaction, right? Double top scenario here, right? So if we continue to get that reaction, price pulls down, okay? I will have a wider stop on that small position in the event that price does push up into this 118, 127 zone, right? But I will start to scale into this trade, right? Because I'm anticipating at some point a retracement coming, okay? Just gonna have a wider stop and gonna be a small order, allow me to scale into it as it moves in my favor. But these key zones are extremely important, especially when we get reactions and presses down below. So if we stay below that level, right, we could see this continue to press down and give us a retracement that we've been waiting on for quite some time. All right, so that's the 4-hour look. That's the 4-hour look, right? Looking for that to press to the downside at some point. We drop down to the 1, right? We're getting some sideways choppy movement now, right? But similar action, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, pushed up into that weekly level, could not close above, right? Could not close above. So now we're chopping sideways, right? So if your rules say wait for a trend line break, wait for this trend line break, right? Wait for a bearish candle to close below, right? Then look for your entry. You can set your stop above the high. Came just short of the D extension here, right? So keep that in mind when you're placing your stop, right? You might place that stop just above that high there, okay? And now, right, looking at your entry from this perspective, okay? Off of that trend line break. And then you calculate. It's a larger stop, sure, right? But we're looking at 180, 170 pips to TP1. They give you a little more than a 1-to-1, and then greater than a 2-to-1 if we get to a 61.8, right? So,
Good morning, Coach.
Shauna, what's happening?
Hey, where'd you start your fib on this one?
On this one, at the low here. right? If you come all the way back and you run those fibs, it's going to get taken out.
All right. I didn't start mine back far enough because mine is a new AB boundary, but I'll take it back.
Gotcha. Yeah, I started from this low here. But it still gives you the same thing, all right? New AB boundary with this swing high here. Right. So if that's your new AB boundary, right, you're still gonna let that B to C move. Okay. Your levels will be a little bit different, but same position ultimately nonetheless, right? So any other questions on this Aussie Yen? Right. Keep your eyes peeled on this one, guys. Limit order already hit 95746. Oh, that was awesome. 95. Great work, Joy. I see you. Right at that weekly level. Stop loss 20 pips. Sweet. That's good work. Any other questions here? No. All right. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'm actually just going to plug this order in. Okay. All right. So that's the Aussie Yen. Now let's take a look at this Aussie New Zealand. Right. So this is another interesting one. Right. So from a daily perspective, price pushed right into the D extension on the daily. Okay. Zoom out, see the full picture. Pushing to the upside. This thick red line here is a daily D extension. Right. Also pushed into weekly resistance. Right. We'll see if this candle closes above this level, right? If we close above this zone, right, with relatively bullish movement above, right, a strong bullish movement above, right, we can see a retest and a potential continuation up, right? But if we close back below this level, right, if we close back below this weekly level, right, this candle comes all the way back and closes below, we could be in for, right, this to be our new, the high of our new AB boundary, but also we could be in for a decent retracement, at least back to the trend line here, right, which would be in line with your 38 to potentially a 50% retracement level. Okay, so I'm keeping an eye on this to see if this daily level stays above this weekly resistance. This daily candle stays above this weekly resistance, or does that daily candle close below that level? Okay, that's going to be key. All right, so let's go down to the 4. This is the look. We got a 32 retracement. This was that push up, right? So we're starting to get some wicks here, right? Just shy of this monthly resistance level as well. Yeah, okay. Just shy of this monthly resistance level as well, right? So these key levels are going to be really, really important. So if we continue to get this pressed down and we close back below, this 4-hour candle closes, that'll give us a new swing high here, right? So that'll be a 4-hour resistance level, right? We could see this push back below this daily level. I mean, this weekly resistance level, okay? If we get that push back below, I'm looking for this to give us more downside movement, okay? As we drop down to the 1, and this is the look here, right? This is a new AB boundary on the 1, right? And we're starting to get some pressure to the downside. Strong bearish candle. We're getting a retracement here, retest, and take back at least 50% of that bearish candle, right? So we could be in for some more downward movement, right? Didn't break that trend line. We're moving sideways through it. So we'll shift to the outermost point like so. Okay. So choppy right now. We'll see again what happens when the market opens at 8:30, right? But looking for this to potentially continue to the downside here. Okay, remove that out. That was a daily D extension that was hit, and this is what we're looking at. Okay. So if we get this trend line break, right, we could be in for that move lower. I'm going to track this off of the 4-hour time frame though, right? I'm going to be looking at it from this perspective. If we close below that level, we could get that nice move to the downside. Okay. That's going to give us an indication, right? Most of these are at key levels. It's going to give us an indication on if investors had already priced this into the market, and B, what they see the outlook as, right? And also tell us too that we're looking towards the end of the month and the CPI data that's going to come out for the dollar, and even to the euro on Thursday, to see kind of the overall health of the economy and if we will continue to stay in this risk on environment, right? So these key levels are going to be really, really important to give us some more insight into kind of the thought process of the big money and where they're looking to move it, right? Because if it doesn't stay above that tells us that they likely had a higher point already priced in, and they're looking at other data that could give them other sites to be more reserved with their investments. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Any questions on the Aussie New Zealand? No? All right. Cool deal. Aussie dollar. Pressing down. Come back to the daily, right? And we pushed. We broke that trend line. Right? Come out and look at the fib. Zoom all the way out. This was the look. Press down. Gave us a nice retracement. Broke through that daily level again. Came back and retested this level. Right? Now we're pressing down. So if this candle closes, right, this confirms this daily level is going to be a strong one, right? Give us a swing high at that daily level. We could see continued downward pressure, right? Now we know the dollar is pulling back, and if we get a deeper push on the dollar, right, this could set up a potential head and shoulder type action here, right? If this continues to press down like so, right? Similar to the look on the dollar and that crown pattern that's forming, okay? So we could see continued downward pressure coming back to previous level of support on this Aussie dollar, right? Then we could see a flip if this formation holds, okay? If this formation holds. Right now we're pressing to the downside. So as we go down to the 4, right, this is, look here, we got a break of this non-aggressive trend line here, right? And then news last night came back to retest that trend line, and now we're continuing to press, right? Shallow retracement 118, 127, right? From a 4-hour perspective, looking for this to press deeper. Okay. Looking forward to press deeper. Okay, then I'll reassess when we get into sweet spot 618, 786 level, which is in line with this previous support level here. Okay, so this is how I'm looking at this. I'm looking for price to continue to the downside. Looking for price to continue to the downside. Okay, so that's the 4-hour perspective. We get down to the 1, right? We haven't taken out this A yet, but I did run my sub fibs to the downside. So this is our active AB boundary. These are smaller waves to the downside. Okay. Smaller waves to the downside. So that wick push back up, and we're coming down. Okay. So as price continues to press, right, likely that it'll take out that A. Okay. Stayed inside the AB boundary with that wick, right? So 8-6 retracement matching the extension is here. We could see it continue to press deeper. Okay, take out that A. We'll get a new fib to form, pull back, then we'll look at a potential continuation deeper. Okay, in line with this previous support level there. Okay, so in this Aussie dollar, I'm looking for continued pressure to the downside. All right, continued pressure to the downside. We broke the trend line, and now we're moving down. Okay. Does that thought process make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We got potential continued retracement on the dollar index, right? Which would mean dollar strength potentially temporarily, right? Completing that right tip, which then lead for dollar strength in this pair, and this to continue press to the downside. Okay. All right. Any questions there? No. Okay. Cool deal. We got 6 minutes. Be able to take a look at a couple pairs. If you guys have anything you want me to take a look at, drop those into the chat. I'll probably be able to take maybe one or two looks. All right. Pound Swiss, Swiss yen. Okay. All right. Swiss yen a couple times. So we'll take a look at those. We'll do a fresh markup on the pound Swiss because I have not done it. That's a pair that I don't trade very much. So we'll get a fresh look at it. Ooh, price turned over on the 15. All right, let's clean up. Let's take a look. Monthly perspective. Support level there. Okay. Level there. All right. So now let's get our support and resistance in. Like so. Okay. There. And there. All right. We are good there. All right, let's go to the weekly and do the exact same thing. Okay. Got a couple levels that are pretty close here. Let's go blue. Resistance there. Support there. Resistance there. All right. Make a slight adjustment here. Like that. These are really, really close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this one in the middle of the two, right? That'll be the zone that we watch there on the weekly time frame. Okay. So we'll go to the daily. Okay. Resistance. That's right in line with that weekly. And support, and support. All right. Got those levels in. There we go. Okay. So we got our daily, weekly, monthly levels in. Okay. So now let's take a look at it from a Fibonacci perspective and see what it's telling us, right? So from our lowest point up retracement. So let's see. Okay. Up retracement zone. Okay. 618 retracement in line with this daily support. Look here. Right. Low 1, 2. So we got a swing low to form at that daily support level. Right. And this is our third candle. We got a little bit of indecision happening. Right. Strong bullish move. Right. Just looking at this, potentially we could get a little bit of a retracement. We'll see. Okay, we'll see as we move through the time frames, but that's what I'm seeing. Swing low, daily support, right? 618 retracement. Okay, so that's what I see first, right? Also, we're pound against the Swissy. So Swissy not getting much love when it comes to some of these other currency, more dominant currency pairs. All right, so that's the daily look, right? We're in an up retracement zone, looking for a potential reversal at some point to continue to press to the upside, right? So here, what we can do also on the daily is drop a trend line like so, right? And this trend line would have come like that. So we also, from this perspective, we got a trend line break as well, right? Got a trend line break, came back and retested. Okay, so that's what we see there on the daily time frame. All right, so let's take these out. We'll go to the 4. Let's see. These fibs will likely come from the top. Let's see. Go to the upside. All right. Running to the upside, we see price movement to the downside, took out our A there, right? So we'll flip these fibs and run them from top to bottom. Okay. Got taken out there, continue to press down. So just to make sure we stay clean, take it from there. Nope. From there. Okay, so here we are. AB boundary, right? Double bottom, press to the upside, trend line break. So now we're pressing on the 4 hour, right? Coming to a 50% retracement, and we're getting some indecision. Okay, trend line break, retest, push. Okay, so we may not get that deeper retracement. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so that's the 4 hour look, pressing deeper into this AB boundary. Okay, pressing deeper into the AB boundary. Whoops. All right, so got that idea, got that understanding there. Let's see, we'll drop, I'm gonna drop this level here, change this to, I wanna keep my eyes on these levels. As price continues to push deeper in the zone, maybe even coming back to this trend line at a higher level, right? But I want to keep my eyes on these zones just to see how price reacts at these levels. Okay, so that's the 4 hour look, pressing into the AB boundary. Let's go to the 1. See what we have here. Sometimes these trend lines get a little wonky. If I can find the end, maybe not. Still gets us to the same point though, right there. All right, so that was the move to the downside, or run our fib from this high. That got taken out to the downside. So we'll flip them, run them from bottom to top. Okay. So press to the upside, right? Trend line break, retest, 38.2 retracement, right? Price is pressing to the upside. So what we could potentially see is just continue retest of this B boundary, right? And then a continued press to the matching D extension, this daily resistance level, right? Because we got that trend line break. And we know, like, I'm sorry, this isn't daily resistance level. This is a 618 retracement level on the 4 hour time frame. This is your 8.6 retracement level, right? So we could be in for more bullish movement here. We have the pound rate statement coming next week. So we definitely could be in for price to continue to rise, right? We could just be looking at a retest of this B boundary and then moving there, right? So for me, no trade at the moment. We already got a 38.2 retracement. If price does come deeper, that'll be great, but I'd be looking for buying opportunities if I get a low price on this. I don't know that I will. So would love for the D extension to get hit and then be looking for a new AB boundary and a potential opportunity from there. but looking for this to continue press to the upside, at least getting to this outer trend line and deeper into that 4-hour AB boundary. All right. So those are my thoughts on the pound Swiss, looking for continued upward movement here. Questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Ms. Mary. All right, cool deal. Let's take a look at this Swiss yen, and then we will call it a day. So another interesting one, right? So this is what we got. Price was at this weekly resistance level. Strong bullish movement against the yen, pushed right back into that weekly resistance level. This looks similar to that Aussie yen, right? So we go to the daily time frame and look at it, right? Nice V move, bang, right back to that level. Could not close above. We're getting a reaction right now. Could not close above that weekly level, right? So indecision, maybe get some sideways movement, but we'll see. We'll see if the tone starts to change a little bit in regards to the yen, but it's been taking a beating for a minute, right? So down to the 4, this is where we sit. Run the fibs off of the low, right? AB boundary, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, right? Dark cloud cover, press down. Okay. It hasn't broken the trend line just yet, right? But that's a strong bearish candle back below this weekly resistance level, right? Could be on its way. Could be on its way, right? That 38.2 is 190 pips away. Okay. This is one I'm definitely going to be watching, right? If we get this break of this trend line, or what's this? 789. 788. Wow, 1 micro. So this candle closes. This will be an official swing high, right? New level of resistance. Could be looking for that movement to the downside to happen. Definitely going to keep my eyes peeled on this one. As we go down to the 1, right? This is that trend line. We got a break, kind of moving sideways, but shallow retracement 118, 127. Now we're pressing back down. Okay. So same thing as this 4-hour. Okay. So on this one, we're at a key level. We got to swing. If this candle closes lower, the next, I think this candle has a couple hours left. But if that closes lower, swing high on the 4, I'm looking for some downward movement here in regards to the Swiss yen. So especially if we stay below this weekly level. If we continue to stay below this weekly level, I'm looking for that to continue to the downside. Okay. Any questions here on this Swiss yen? Looking for downward movement here. If we stay below that. You're welcome. If we stay below this level, looking for price to continue down. If price, right, breaks above this level, breaks back above, we could be in for a ride to this monthly resistance level, right? So that's the if then statement. If price stays below, I'm looking short, and I'll be trading that off of this 4-hour time frame here, break of the trend line. If price breaks above, looking for price to continue to rise. Cool deal. Any questions? No? All right. Any questions about anything that we covered this morning? No? Okay.
No.
Sweet. I appreciate you guys showing up this morning, man. All right. We'll be back at it tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be your host tonight. We'll see how the market moved throughout the day, right? See if some of these levels stayed below these, some of these candles stayed below these key levels. All right. You guys have an awesome, awesome, awesome day. We'll see you back 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Asian session. All right. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Thank you.
You're
Have
welcome.
a good day.
You too.